What's up, beautiful human beings? More story time with Jahbuela. In this part of karma, so much of your destiny lies. I cannot impress on you too greatly the need to always knock and stay open, to ask and to seek knowledge. What I write here is a small part in your path. Read it. Take from it what feels right for you, but then go on and seek further. Never put a full stop to your life, your learning, or your love. From my eyes, I see so clearly, and if it were not for my deeper understanding, I would feel saddened to see such beautiful souls putting conditions and limitations on what, how, and who they learn from. Open up and let the universe enter your path of freedom and joy. Know no limit. You stretch across the universe to your brothers in space, and on different energy levels, you are one. You have a purpose, a journey. Know your joy and your belonging. For there lies your future, a return home to the absolute. The insidious, petty things which plague your lives feed off you and drain your very life force away. Cast them off. Attune to whatever uplifts you. The stars, music, art, the sparkle in a loved one's eye, or that blade of grass which shares your world. When I start to become involved with releasing you from your negative conditioning, I take on the vibration and passion of an evangelist for life. It is, alas, you and you alone who can and one day will accept no limits, and we of the Brotherhood await your return home. Remember, you only have to keep walking, and help will always be given. Not always when and how you expect it, but the law of karma stands firm. Keep walking. Never say you are there. Only the light is clearer. Without most of you realizing it, your spiritual helpers are walking alongside you to guide and help you over unknown and at times difficult ground. We will now proceed again along my journey of youth. This should help to break the intensity of the previous writing and allow what means a great deal to me to be absorbed into your consciousness. We have dealt so far with two machines which helped my creative talents at an early age. Playing play was an important part of my childhood and should be retained right through life, especially at the level of childhood, for that returns us to when we were at our best imaginatively, creatively, and spontaneously. The games we played were usually for 4 people, for most of our work and numerical systems revolve around 4. As children, we received a legacy of effects and toys from our parents' childhood. We were totally dedicated to recycling, and it was not part of our nature to be wasteful. Therefore, it was a natural progression to pass along all things that were of use. Because of this approach to the material things of life, our products were of a quality undreamed of in your wasteful society. My sister, who was my junior, received all my toys and clothes in turn. We both wore the same type of clothing, for there was no distinction between sexes until the age of puberty. This coming of age was around 13, when I grew to a level of manhood, both physically and mentally capable of taking on whatever work necessary. I do not wish to dwell long on incidents of my childhood, for I feel that for you, my reader, the things you are looking for in these pages are those that primarily are of use to you. So let me now return to a subject of more value. The likelihood of your needing to know about survival in your immediate future is great, unless you are what most beings consider to be fortunate and terminate your incarnation in the early days. However, this book is written mainly for those whose karma and choice it is to survive for as long as they are able, and to demonstrate to their compatriots at that formidable hour the noble attributes of mankind. To those of you who fall in that category but are reluctant to accept or believe, I would like to point out the following. You represent the vanguard for the race of man. Yours is the mission, duty, honor, or desire, whatever, to bring through as many children and with as much love as possible, and to nurture them, not only to reclaim their devastated planet, but to transform them to the level at which the planet will be manifesting. I am limited in my advice on the practical aspects of survival, such as essential food and equipment, as I have no background in such matters, but of the mental and spiritual aspects of survival I will unfold much to you. I do not mean to relegate the practical initiatives to a lesser level of importance, for every part is necessary to be in harmony as a whole. The mind, or more directly, your mind, will suffer acutely being thrown into a world where it is not only no longer master, but is unable in the simplest terms to comprehend what is taking place. We are not just talking about war or natural catastrophe. This shall be a complete and total change on all levels for all beings on your planet, including the planet herself. Now, under such conditions, a normal conditioned rational mind would quite rapidly suffer a breakdown of functioning, as it would be unable to come to terms with and rationalize all the new stimuli being absorbed. My first course of action will be on how to deal with yourselves mentally under these conditions, not only to survive yourself, but in doing so, help others over the very formidable obstacles. The being who will guide you is the Christ himself. It is his love that will give you strength, and his faith that will give you the will to continue. Consequently, the Christ Spirit is the guiding spirit behind all things at this time. For those of you who feel inadequate to attune directly to such a spirit, I will outline intermediary methods of attunement. These are neither less nor greater, just more suitable under certain circumstances. The ring or circle of power was used under many names for numerous purposes by various races of mankind from the dawn of your history. So it is fitting for me to start with this ring of power and to explain its methods and reasons of being. The circle is formed most effectively when people of like mind and loving disposition towards each other join hands while sitting in a relaxed manner, preferably in a lotus position or as near as possible. Under this situation, the potential for healing of mind and body is tremendous, but certain guiding rules, when applied, will increase and direct the force in a more positive and constructive way. Breathing in harmony with each other is of great importance. I am reluctant to make set rules regarding this as they are potentially inhibiting. Nevertheless, a harmony has to be developed. We will consider the most ideal approach first, where the people of the circle hand over and release their bodies from the controlling influences of their respective individual personalities. The bodies would then be free to tune into the prevailing breathing and energy patterns around the circle, and the resulting harmony would be absolute. This would require the people to be of like mind initially and have a degree of spiritual advancement, patience, and detachment. Such is not always the case, especially when it is considered that the circle is like a chain and is only as strong as its weakest link. Now, to those of you who through circumstances and environment are not able to achieve the requirements stated above, I should add that under most survival situations, the methods I am about to relate are mandatory while working within a hostile environment. The people of the ring must retain eye contact with their opposites while feeling energy flowing from their left to right hands. This will give them 3 things to center on: one through the eyes, another through the fingers, and the third and most important, sound. One must hear the breathing of oneself. By being aware both of the throbbing of the electrical impulse through the fingers and the noise of one's breathing, the awareness itself will form a harmony between the two, without a conscious effort being made. As the individual breathing patterns adjust and harmonize with the energy waves around the circle, a vortex of ever-expanding energy will result. As is the case with many things on your planet, the difficulty lies not in acquiring energy, but in effectively utilizing it for the good of mankind. The circle is usually used, as I mentioned earlier, for the healing of the mind or body, but it should not be limited, however good the cause, to repairing some negativity. The energy can be used to transcend the group to far higher levels of consciousness, and enlightenment in mass is possible, and under such an aura of love, healing would take place as a byproduct. This is an important point to make, for however noble the cause of healing is, it centers the circle onto a negative situation, one of ill health, whether it be mental or physical. It is not wise to center the circle onto any such thought, for to limit something limitless creates disharmonious energy flows and also severely limits the potential of the circle. I refer to the circle as a separate entity, for although it is formed only because it is a composite of all the participants in the circle, it still has life unto itself, whenever or wherever the circle is formed. This may be difficult to understand. I may be able to explain it clearer by using the example of a physical man. Man lives physically and expresses himself physically because the cells, each of which is a separate living being, form together a pattern producing the physical body of man. When man forms a circle in harmony and the energy flows, he has given life in a physical sense to that spirit which expresses itself by manifesting as a circle of human beings. If the circle is formed and manifesting in harmony, then it is an entity, the same one as has always expressed itself in a circle of people. This spirit that manifests has with it and is the combined energies of all the circles mankind has formed on his planet through the eons of time. Once the circle is functioning, it is linked up through time and space to all the circles and energies, and it is by realizing that strength that we can utilize one of our greatest assets to overcome the traumas to come. When mankind has fully utilized this gift of the power from circles, the threat of nuclear and geographic holocaust will be greatly reduced, for he will have an opposing harmonious power to counteract these negative expressions. It should be used in many ways for many reasons, and this method would be readily attainable if practiced at the present time, while you still have the luxury of freedom of time. Now is the time for me to take you along another path of learning. For this is a day of being at one, not with yourself, but with oneself. The subtlety of the difference between these two words represents all the trials of mankind in reaching his enlightened goal. Through the help of the Christ Spirit, you do not own yourself. That is an illusion. The one self is and always will be. It is one, and that oneness, it expresses the self, forming oneself. This combination is the trinity of the one God, the God that is everything, in and out of time and space, expressing itself through you as self. Therefore, you must always regard yourself as one self both in mind and spirit. When fully realized, the enlightened one will discover the God within, that he is himself God, expressing himself as self. I realize that this must sound very abstract to most of you, for it has no tangibility to it. Perhaps I should explain further. Man is God expressing himself in the oneness that it is, by becoming a self in man to become one self. Now when yourself is expressed, we no longer have a situation of the one self, but it becomes owned by the man becoming yours or his or hers. Therefore, the ego lays claim to the self, not the oneness which is God. So you can see that the depth of the difference is profound and cannot be truly stated in words. For in that difference lies your whole meaning for existence on this dimension of time and space. If I have left some of you behind with that explanation, please worry not. If it feels right, return later and reread. Your planet is undergoing a radical change, and with it, her human race and also the race of beings on the astral plane. This astral plane or level of consciousness is very similar to physical existence, but has not the intensity of meaning we find on Earth. We therefore learn more rapidly in a physical environment, and consequently this physical incarnation takes precedence over that on the astral plane. For this reason, it is normal for the astral beings to help and guide those on paths of greater learning and spiritual growth on this physical plane. However, the reverse sometimes happens when people of an advanced nature from the physical world tune in and help those less fortunate than themselves on the astral plane. This help is limited to those with a psychic gift of communication. And I use the word gift with some reservation, for I would not like to imply that only a few are gifted. All are mediums, psychics, and have many gifts. Only a few, however, realize their abilities. Now I would like to bring together the different aspects of your mind and synthesize them into a wholeness, and in so doing reach a clear understanding of your true potential. There will be a position of trust to establish in this matter, for it is new ground, and it is on a level that is very personal to all you people. Your ability to love, your ability to give, your ability to harmonize, to tune in, feel at one, feel compassion and understanding for your fellow man. These are the prerequisites for psychic development. The reasons these qualities of love have to be present is that only on such a vibration is man transcending his ego self. For without such love, he would be totally motivated by his ego self. Such a being would be totally self-centered, unable to communicate with or reach his fellow beings on his own level, let alone highly attuned beings on the astral plane. Love, as expressed through the Christ Spirit, is the key factor in all psychic gifts or abilities. This then is an opportunity for you to develop your psychic gifts, and I would like the first one to be developed to be that of intuition. This by its nature has to come before the others, for by being in tune with one's intuitive aspect, one would then be able to feel or know one's next course of learning or attainment. For we all have a path requiring different abilities at varying levels of competence. So, to begin with, intuition shall be our course. Many of you will already be aware of your intuitive abilities to a greater or lesser degree, but most of you will, at the same time, be conditioned to think of them as a part of your hereditary or astrological makeup, or even the sole requisite of those on the passive ray, that of womankind. There is truth to a small degree only in these ideas, for although intuition appears to follow that pattern, it is by no means limited to it. The predominant condition to enable intuition to function is an open mind and being at peace with itself in a meditative way. This openness will arise when individuals give of themselves outwardly, which in turn comes back to our primary disposition, as mentioned, that of love. It is not possible for me to explain to you how to love, for love cannot be contained in words, ways, or methods. So we will start with the assumption that those following this course are of a loving nature and therefore are able to develop their intuition by the following steps. First, take with you to bed at night a pen and paper. Without thinking of what you will write, this is not automatic writing or mediumship. In an external sense, it is your self-receiving help from your over-self. The reason I choose bed is that for most people of your Western culture, without the background of Eastern meditation, it is the time when you are most receptive. At that moment between waking and sleeping, thoughts and feelings flit across one's mind. Most have not form or meaning, and one usually allows them to pass by. However, in such a state of limbo, a feeling can express itself. When it does, your mind will form it into a thought. The secret of intuition is to know that feeling before it is expressed as a thought, for then it becomes one of many thoughts flitting through your mind. That is why intuition is always expressed as a feeling. People can feel impending danger or feel someone close to them is in need of help. Intuition has obviously so many practical uses, especially in the times of crisis ahead, when we will rarely have the luxury of knowing which way to go or what course of action to take. I leave it with you to develop this. It is an exact science, one that you will master with a moderate amount of practice. Between sleep and awakening, man loses his ability to construct his own thoughts. He has to, otherwise he would never be able to leave his physical and mind body. In that time, he is very sensitive to more subtle vibrations, for he is not sending out strong electromagnetic waves and thought forms. He is receptive. Thoughts at this time are not usually his own, but those flitting through the etheric thought wave band he harmonizes with and into which he tunes. They have no meaning for him, and he does not use them in any way. In such a state of receptivity, the vibrations of wisdom and help can come down to his mind as feelings, which one must distinguish as such, before they are expressed as thoughts and soon lost. The pen and paper enable one to write down these feelings, for otherwise they would possibly be forgotten. After awakening fully, one would find great difficulty in reaching the memory on a more subtle vibration level. Once you have developed this, use your intuition to lead you through feeling to what your particular future destiny requires in the way of psychic abilities, if any. In order to leave you time to develop this and to determine your own direction, I will postpone to a later part of this book further development of the psychic senses.